afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Top of Time with Harrison Young. This is actually my next, a couple of things. It's my next to last August show, number one. Number two, it's only the second in-person interview I've done here in Carver at Area 58 this year. And I also, I have a stand-up comedian. He kind of reminds me of the late Jonathan Winters. He's sort of a doppelganger, and he's going to do a little stand-up. But before I get to him, I've got to read these incredible underwriters. Don't have a lot, but they're great, so we read them off. Got some new ones. So, we have New England Floorscapes in Middleborough. We have water filtrations in Lakeville. We're filtering water. They're in Norton. We have Wareham House of Pizza in Wareham. They're in Norton. We have K&J Doggy Palace now in Lakeville, formerly in Rainham. Great to have them back. We have Spirits and Stars, Crystals and Cards right up the street, down the street, I should say, here in Carver on Route 58. We have good old Dave's Automotive in Hanson right up the street on Route 58 there. We have another new one, Jeffrey's Horse and Hound Quality Used Tack, Saddles, Equipment, Show Clothing, Essentials, and Gifts for the Horse, Hound, and Human. They're in Norton, right down the street as well. We have the Barber Shop in Whitman on Route 27. You go through the center of town, on the little building on the left, there's Debbie, and she does a great job. We have Tom Auto in Middleborough. We have the Riverside Cafe in Wareham, open 6 days, 7 to 1, all except Wednesdays, and they deliver and they have DoorDash. We have the Auto Shop with Master Mechanic Ed Rooney in Hanover. We have South Middleborough Pizza and Grill, New York Style Pizza in Middleborough, and we have DNS Auto Works and Collision Specialists in Abington, off Swift Road on Route 58. I want to thank you guys very much. Now officially, Mr. Jack Lombardo, thanks for coming down here from the town of Ipswich, the sculpture capital of the universe, to do my show.
Hey, it's a great, I'm excited to be here, and I mean, quite a list of sponsors you have there.
And that's a small one, too.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, I'm actually doing my other show tomorrow in Easton, so I split them up. What I like to do is, if I can do two, I like to get 2 shows a weekend, and I split up the ones here and then the ones I get probably more for that show.
That's great.
Yeah, it's going all right.
That's
so,
great.
yeah, this is, and now I'm in my 15th year because I started the show
15 years.
in 2010.
That's impressive.
Thank you, yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. But now we're going to find out about you. So,
Sure.
yeah. So tell me about where you grew up, how you got into the industry, and we'll work our way from there. We'll talk about your childhood a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I grew up in Gloucester, Massachusetts.
Love the town.
Yeah, loved it.
Love the ocean.
I was a fishing family throughout most of the history, Sicilian family.
Okay.
And my father was like kind of the first off the boat, became a chef, and then later on owned a produce company. And
okay.
Spent most of my childhood there up until about 20, 21 years old.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And then where did you go?
I went to college in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Okay. What college and what did you major in?
I was actually at Oral Roberts University at the time. I was going to go into ministry at one point in time.
Okay.
But I was studying education.
With that black shirt, all you needed was a little white frock and you'd be ready to go.
Yeah. Changed over the years, but yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, okay. Well, interesting. Well, I have to ask now, did you have did you have one epiphany and then another?
Honestly, if I'm being honest, I was like a real heavy partier, when I was about 21, 22.
Kind of look like you still are.
Lived at the, pretty much lived at the clubs, just partying, drinking, and just, it was kind of like, I need to get out of this. And I had a friend who had been a pretty heavy partier. She was always hooked, she was hooking up with a roommate of mine, different things. Hadn't seen her for a while, ran into her one day, and all she was doing was talking about Jesus. Turned out her father was a pastor.
Okay.
She got me to go to church with her, and I kind of got into it for a few years.
I guess she was hot, huh?
Yeah, she was.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
She was ugly. I think you would have done something different.
Yeah,
I mean, let's face it. Come on, that's real life, man.
True, yeah.
Okay. Wow. Well, okay, but then but at some point, I mean, she's not your wife, is she?
No.
Okay,
I
so
completely shifted from that.
That's what I thought. So what? She was a little too religious and not open enough for you. Is that it?
Pretty much.
Yeah, I understand. Okay, but at least you gave it a try. Well,
yeah, sure.
We all have epiphanies. We all have. If a beautiful woman came up to me and said, "Let me help you meet Jesus," I'd say, "Okay, well, let's do it tonight over cocktails."
It's a great motivating factor.
Oh yeah, exactly.
I guess, yeah.
Well, I was actually, it's interesting. You're talking about going to Salem tonight. In 2009, I do have cousins that live up there, and I went. They have the parade every Halloween.
Yeah, they've got quite a bit that goes on, haunted happenings throughout October.
Well, I happened to go up there on October 31st of 2009. I just turned 50, and I figured about halfway through my life, and I had this long black wig on. I don't know what I was supposed to be, but I had more hair than I do now with that wig. And we were me and my cousin and I and her husband were walking the parade route, and all of a sudden I felt a little tap on my shoulder, and there was sort of a cute girl saying, "Can I help you?" And then she was a 20-something, and two guys were with her. and she told me that God wasn't very happy with me and that I need to change my ways, and they said a prayer for me.
You get a lot of those kind of street preachers.
I know, but it is kind of weird that she came right up to me and said it.
Yeah.
And what she said to me was, "Can I help you?" And I said, "Possibly," and you obviously know what I meant by that.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
And I think she did too.
Yeah. Didn't go exactly the way it was expected, though, for either of you, I don't think.
No, I think it kind of did. Well, they said the guy said a prayer to me for me, and then they said, "You'll be okay now." I hope that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, we all have desires. We all have to take care of them somehow. What are you going to do? I mean, that's
what are you gonna do?
I mean, that seems to be all. I don't want to get too much into religion in this discussion.
Me
but,
either. I don't want to talk
all right,
about much.
then let's scrap it. So, all right, what happened when you came out of Oral Roberts? What did you do after that?
After that, I was, just kind of was raising my family, working.
Okay,
things like this.
all right. You have a wife and kids now?
I do not have a wife and kids. I have kids.
You have kids. Don't have a wife.
I'm divorced. I'm actually a single father of 5 kids.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
All
okay.
from the marriage. Yep.
Well, you can make a sitcom out of that.
It's funny you would say that. I've actually written 6 episodes on a sitcom that I'm hoping to pitch at some point to a network.
Okay.
Called 40 Plus 5, which I was 40 when I started raising the kids, and basically about a single father.
Are they all still children, or are they adults now?
No, I've got 2 that are still at home. Technically 3. One leaves for college tomorrow.
Wow.
My oldest got married 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
So I've got technically 3 in the house. It'll be 2 in the house as of tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Okay, that's good. So obviously they're doing well.
They are doing well. Yeah. very
Okay,
good.
that's important. That's very important. Obviously, I mean, let's face it. When you turn out 5 children and they're all doing well, you're beating the odds.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. So I have no children, and I'm guessing I might be slightly older than you. I'll be 65 in October.
Yeah, I'm 53. So yeah.
Wow, I thought you. Okay, all right, there you go. I mean, I thought you. I mean, seeing that you had 5 kids already, you started young in life.
I was 30, so not that young.
Yeah. Well, no, that's true.
Yeah, fairly young. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So how did you end up getting into the comic beat?
Honestly, it was after my divorce. I had done a lot of acting in college and gotten out of it over the years.
Okay.
And
it all really did?
No, actually, I had initially gone to a community college, but long story short.
Okay.
But had really enjoyed acting.
Okay.
And got out of it raising my family. And when my wife and I separated, my first thought was, what? I want to get back on stage.
Okay.
And so I went to. I'd always wanted to try comedy.
Well, back on stage, had you done open mics before?
I had never done an open mic. I'd only done acting at that point.
Yep.
But I'd always wanted to do an open mic. I went out.
Okay.
And did that, and things kind of started to take off pretty quickly. I was doing shows within about a little over a year or 2.
Okay. Now was this back in? Now you came back to the North Shore to do all this stuff, right?
I started doing comedy in Oklahoma.
Oh, you did.
I
Okay.
did initially, yes.
Well, you were still at Oral?
No, I'd been out of there.
Oh, you left Oral and that's where you
I
transferred.
still stayed there. I was still in Oklahoma for about 20 years after.
Oh, you were? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that's a while ago.
Yes,
All right.
yeah.
But eventually you came back here. So
Absolutely, came
all
back
right.
home.
This is where that's where you raised your kids, right?
Exactly. When I got custody of my kids is when I moved back here to be around family.
I understand. Okay. And now you're in Ipswich.
I am in Ipswich. Yes.
Okay. And it must be a pretty nice neighborhood that you live in.
It's very nice. Ipswich, I've said a lot of times, Ipswich is kind of there's not a lot going on. It's not the most exciting town, but
That's what makes it a nice town, though.
Kids, though.
You're right.
Yeah.
It probably has a nice school system.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful little town.
Plus, it's right near your old house, old town, Gloucester. It's only
it's only about 15 minutes
15
away,
minutes,
right
yeah.
my family, yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. So how busy are you with your comedy now?
Well, my situation is, like I said, I had started in Oklahoma. I was getting pretty steady work. And when I moved back here, obviously I had custody of the kids, which slowed things down. And my plan was to start running local shows in Massachusetts.
Okay.
I'd been here for maybe a month, and I had a bad accident where I snapped my leg clean in half.
Oh, wow.
And that took me out of comedy for about 13 years. I just restarted about a year and a half ago, and things are starting to pick up again. I'm starting to book a lot more shows.
You're walking okay now.
I still have a limp, but I had a lot of problems over the years, but I'm back up and around and moving pretty well.
Yeah. Well, wow, you're blessed, I'd say.
Yeah, thank you.
I'd say that woman that you met, the religious girl, they're watching you. Somebody is.
Somebody is, yeah.
That's incredible. Okay.
Yeah, so.
All right. So now you've written some scripts. You said. Have you done any acting in addition to the comedy like you did?
Yes, I have. I sent you a video earlier this week.
Oh, I did send you a video. You know what? You know what we could do if you want. How long is the video?
About 4 minutes, 3.5, maybe 4 minutes.
Well, here's what I'm thinking. I mean, what we could do is we could possibly edit that video. We could definitely edit that video into the show.
Great, yeah.
You could do some comedy. We could edit the video in as well, and that way, then what we'll do is that'll be like a complete introspective of what you're doing, and it'll hit people where they live. Especially since you just said you get 32 million hits for that.
Yeah, and I just recently started acting. This is the first thing I've done. It's a music video for a Korean pop group, K-pop group called Young Posse. This is their new song called "Ain't That."
But that's religious. Well. That's religious type of music.
No, not at all. It's just basically Korean kind of hip hop music.
It's go time. 1, 2, 3 to the 4. Young posse, baby, if you know, then you know. 5, 6, 7, and 8 down. 깨끗이 8 down. 1, 2, 3 to the 4. Young posse, 들어 담아, we want it more. 5, 6, 7, and 8 down.
Yeah, don't call it comeback. 우리 모두 위는 그냥 놀래. 웨스트보는 넌 저기 빠진 채로 홀래. 사냥하는 양이처럼 놀러. 잘 움직이는 팬츠 까매지는 거.
Nothing but a P thing, baby. Play 위엔 빵과 cheese, we ate that. 며칠 보면 애들처럼 left no crumbs. 눈치 보지 말고 그냥 have some fun. 미쳐버린 꽃마치 비스티걸스. 거짓 없이 튀어 올라가 we level up. Ooh, 네가 좀 아프지 마. 그냥 지기는 걸 알아가는 중이야. Let's see that older. We gon' serve it. 어떤 맛이든지, babe.
What you want?
Yeah, 입을 크게 벌려 taste it.
Oh, 먹었지 on my bread. It's given for plus 4. 물색도 quick back.
깨끗이 ate that.
Oh, 비워버려 my plate. It's given for plus 4.
그새도 quick man.
Yes, this I ain't that.
1, 2, 3 to the 4. Young posse, baby, if you know that you know. 5, 6, 7, and 8 time. 깨끗이 ate that. Big kid 흔들어 is posse. Another big drip 떨어뜨려 다시. East coast, west coast, make a wave now. Woo, 올라타, we gon' stare now.
나라마다 다 다르게 빛던 도장 하는 마다 따라하기 rip the mystery. 드르륵탁 위비르게 만들어탁. Everything is possible. We are young, we can never stop.
Come if you feel me. Bad vibes down and kill me. 세상이 아니라고 해도 go go. I don't give up. There's some more. More than that. 이런 어떤 맛이든지, babe.
입이 되게 벌려 taste it. Oh, 먹었지 on my bread. It's given for plus 4.
밑에도 quick man. 깨끗이 ate that.
Oh, 비워버려 my plate. It's given for plus 4. 그새도 quick back.
Yes, it's I ate that. Girls, get the boogie on the floor. 술 없이도 no stop. Booty booty go like. Boys, get the boogie on the floor. 나한테 막히한 듯이 swimming in the flow.
That mac and cheese, I ate that. That XXL, I ate that.
아직 배고파, we gotta eat that. It's given, ate that, sis. Yes, it's I ate that. Yes, it's I ate that. 언니들, free donuts. Donuts, 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 donuts.
Okay, well, guess what? We're halfway through the show, and now Jack's going to get up and do a little stand-up comedy, and I'm going to sit back and relax. So go ahead.
All right, absolutely. Normally, when I start a comedy show, I start talking to couples in the audience to find out how long they've been together. Now, personally, I don't date often, and it's mainly because I am paranoid that I might get somebody pregnant. And this is a legitimate concern for me. I am a single father of 5 kids. I mean, I even begin to get intimate with somebody who could potentially get pregnant. My brain starts sending out all these signals, and suddenly I just go limp. Some people have been steered straight. I've been scared soft. And I'll tell you, birth control does nothing to ease my anxiety, because 3 of my 5 kids were conceived while using protection. I've tried condoms, that's out. The rhythm method, that's out. The pill, then I'll let you in on something. Once you got 5 kids, the only pill that's effective is Tylenol. But you know, getting someone pregnant while using protection, this always reminds me of a certain story. Now, most of you are familiar with the Iliad of Homer. It's considered one of the greatest works of literature in the history of the world. And within this book is the story of the Trojan horse. Now, to break this down, the Greeks and Trojans are at war, but there's a problem. The Trojans have built this huge wall around the city. The Greeks cannot penetrate it, but they come up with an idea. They build this huge wooden horse. They leave it outside the gates of Troy. The Trojans see this. For some reason, they assume it's a gift from the gods. So they open up the gates, they bring it in. What they don't realize is that the horse is hollow, and it's full of Greek soldiers. Now, the next thing you know, they come busting out of that thing, and they start shooting all over the place. And I tell you that story for one reason. I tell you that story to let you know that the Greeks are not the only people in the history of the world to come busting out of a Trojan and start shooting all over the place. I mean, I'm guilty of that. And for those of you who don't realize what just happened, I just took the Iliad of Homer, one of the greatest works of literature in the history of the world, and I turned it into a dick joke. And that, my friends, is the most intelligent dick joke you should ever hear in your entire life. Now, at this point, some of you may be wondering what nationality I am. And I know this because people are always asking me where I'm from. And they'll ask, are you from Hawaii? Are you from Samoa? Are you from Guam? Now, Hawaii and Samoa, I get. But I used to wonder why people asked if I was from Guam, until I saw a picture of people from Guam. Now I get it. They're friggin' gorgeous. But you know, I actually am Sicilian, and the nationality I get confused for more than anything else is Mexican. And I get this, because Sicilians and Mexicans, we have a lot in common. We're both little guys with big attitudes. We're both born with a dark skin and jet black hair. We both like spicy food and spicy women. We have so much in common, I think we should just combine our nationalities. I could call myself a Mexicilian. Or a Sexican! Come on! I most definitely should not be called a Sexican. I'm actually very awkward when it comes to talking to women. Now, these are some things I have actually said to women upon meeting them. I once had a woman tell me she liked my scent, obviously referring to my cologne, and I went on a 2-minute tangent about how I use Lady Speed Stick. You know, another time, a woman walked right up to me, laid a hand on my chest, and said, "I love your shirt." And I got so nervous and flustered that I said, "Thank you. It's a 3XL. But this is the worst one of all. I use a CPAP machine for sleep apnea. And when I wake up in the morning, the straps tend to leave some marks on my face. Now, by the time I leave the house, you usually can't see them anymore. But on this one particular morning, I had to leave early. I stopped at a store and got in a conversation with a woman. She obviously noticed the marks because she asked me, "Do you use a CPAP machine?" And without hesitating, I replied, "Nah, kept the ball gag on a little too long last night." I mean, I was as surprised to hear the words come out of my mouth as she was.
Okay, great job. That was awesome.
Thank you, appreciate
Okay,
it.
yeah, you got. I'm telling you, F has nothing on you.
Thank you, appreciate that.
You're here, he's not.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I've seen, how many, now, have you ever opened, who have you opened for? Have you opened that for anybody?
Yeah, I've opened for Mike McDonald, who's pretty well known. He's done a lot of USO tours. I've
Okay.
hosted shows where he was the headliner. Jason Merrill is another guy who's fairly local that's headlines a lot of shows. Dave Radigan,
Yeah.
who actually does a lot of my booking. He is in charge of Scamps Productions.
Okay,
for the
Mona too,
Melbourne
you worked with her too?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, Mona Forgione.
Mona
We've been on the show
Forgione.
before. She's an excellent comedian.
She is.
Hosts a lot of the shows that I don't host. We kind of cross over in times.
Yeah, now you end up, now you're up north of Boston, how far do you travel for some of your shows? You have the
I've
furthest.
done some shows I've done shows in Connecticut,
Connecticut.
Rhode Island, Maine,
Yeah.
New Hampshire, Massachusetts.
Right.
Since I've still got kids at home, I try not to I don't go on the road. I don't do
Right, I
overnight
understand. You gotta
shows.
stay with them.
I make sure I'm home at night
Yeah.
after the show.
You wouldn't consider asking them to go, I mean, obviously they're probably back in school now, but during the summer, you wouldn't consider taking them on the road?
If I could pull that off, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes.
but you haven't done that in a while?
I haven't done that, no.
Okay. All right, now where do you plan to, now you said you get those scripts written, where do you plan to submit them?
You know, I'm honestly at this stage, I'm looking for an agent. That
Okay.
I hopefully would be able to work with the comedy and be able to pitch something like that to a network. I've had people that have talked about like maybe filming a pilot on our own.
Yeah.
For me, the issue is really that the show would start with us leaving Oklahoma, so to be able to film from one state
it's like
to another.
like a documentary on your life, kind of?
Well, it becomes more about our life here in Massachusetts, but the initial is us leaving there to come here, so we'd need, airport and
Okay.
access to a plane. It would be a lot to be able to do that on our own,
Do you know John Pierce?
I don't, no.
John Pierce, he's a comedian, and he's got a gig over at Medford Cable, and he was a guest on my show way back about 12 years ago.
Sure.
And they did like a little sitcom up at Medford Cable. It was hilarious.
Okay.
Now, I don't know, I mean, the reason I'm suggesting there is because, or even, I don't know about here, anywhere that you might, I mean, I definitely pedaled around to the public access network, but Medford, public access cable network, Medford is is the only one where I've ever seen a sitcom done.
I could see doing something with local cable, but this particular idea, I just
You wanna
really feel like it's
expand
a
it
little
even
more-
further, yeah.
I really feel like I want to hold out and see that go to like a streaming network or an actual television
I
network.
understand.
Yeah.
And now, in terms of acting, have you ever done any film acting, or was it all stage?
It's mostly stage acting at this stage.
Well, you might want to, I like to give advice to my guests. I use this word often. Give advice to my guests that would
Sure.
behoove them down the line. You might want to send a resume or something to Boston Casting.
I am signed up with Boston
You are?
Casting just
Okay.
recently in the last few months.
Okay.
And it's funny, since I've signed up with them, I've gotten I've gone on with you, I got the music video, but none of that has been through Boston Casting yet.
I understand, no, but I'm just saying you want to get. I mean, you might want to
They're
look
a
at.
great organization.
It is a great organization, but even if you don't get something with them, there's a lot of independent filmmakers out there that are always looking for extras.
Absolutely.
And you might want to reach out to them. That's
a lot of what I've been doing. Like,
Yeah,
even
okay.
background extra work. I was almost in I had an opportunity, I was almost in the new James L. Brooks movie with Woody Harrelson.
Oh, really?
Okay, things didn't work out at the last minute, but that actually was through Boston Casting.
Oh, it was, okay.
So, yeah,
That was,
things
all right,
that
so you've already had
definitely
something from
count.
them.
Yes, I have, yes.
Okay.
I've had some leads, they haven't quite panned out yet, but they will.
You might know Frankie and Bergamo. Do you know him?
I don't.
You don't know him either?
Sorry,
No, it's fine.
Sorry, yeah.
Well, no, he was actually my first guest way back in 2010. And,
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then he came back in 2014.
Sure.
He did there's a guy named Matt Fisher that lives in Whitman, not too far from here.
Okay.
He has a film company called Bombastic Films.
Okay,
You might-
actually, that sounds familiar.
Yeah, you might want to reach out to him.
Okay.
And then there's a guy up in Lowell named Bob McCarthy who has a show kind of like mine. And I'll tell you, he's interviewed some pretty big people. And I don't know why he's still in Lowell, Mass, in a kind of a crappy neighborhood when he could probably be in L.A. He's had people on his show that have been on The Tonight Show.
Oh, wow,
He's interviewed Hulk
excellent, yeah.
Hogan. He's interviewed Dan Aykroyd. He's
Yeah.
interviewed John O'Hurley, Seinfeld. And that's just to name
Yeah,
a few.
just a few people, yeah.
And he's won awards in filmmaking, so you might want to look into some of these people. You might want
Absolutely.
to reach out to them on Facebook.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I've worked with them. I've collaborated with them. I haven't done this in a while, but I actually used to go on be in people's films and do on-set interviews with the cast.
That'd be
So,
great, yeah.
So what I would do is when I was at my first station in Marshfield, back from 2010 to 2014, I'd bring the equipment to a set
Yes,
where
okay.
a small independent film was being made. And I'd get to be an extra in the film, and during the making of the film, I do get sound bites from the actors,
Yeah.
and that would be my show.
Excellent.
Yeah, right. So I'm just saying that's something, and I'm trying to think of people that you might be able to talk to that might be able to
Yeah,
help
I
you.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
I'll definitely look into that. And when you're doing a show and you go on set, that's so much fun. I used to host a television talk show called Toy Talk. which
Right,
was
Toy
about
Talk.
Vintage toys, and we would start the show with like an
Where did you host
inspirational in ICAM, Ipswich, Massachusetts.
What
we
town?
did
Oh, in
this-
Ipswich.
We did this until COVID, and then the studio shut down for a few months. We never really got things back up and running.
Okay.
But we used to do like an inspirational start and then talk about toys. But the point is, we did go on the road at one point and filmed live at the Boston Comic Con, and it was
Okay.
just a lot of fun doing that. Yeah.
Right. Well, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Yeah. And now, but you've never done any film acting at all?
I haven't done any film acting to date, but I'm
Okay.
looking at that happening in the near future.
And there's also other casting companies too. There's no limit. There's CP Casting. They're out in central Massachusetts, like
Okay.
I think in Orange.
I'm not familiar with them yet, but okay.
Right,
yeah.
but I'm just saying you might want to Google some of them just to see.
Absolutely, yeah. I'll take down names
Do you
for
have a
you.
headshot of yourself?
I do. I have headshots, a lot of stuff on Boston Casting,
Right.
plenty of photos and
Okay.
different things like that, yeah.
Okay, yeah, and hopefully my shot. But you got 32 million hits from that thing.
Yeah, from that Young Posse, that video is really just exploding. It's only been out for 6 days at this point.
Wow.
Already at
Well, I
32
think
million views.
you're riding my coattails now, and
I
that's
mean,
great.
I mean, in the video, obviously, the focus is the band, but I mean, I got some good close-ups in there. It's just great to be a little.
All right, so it was a music video.
Yes, it's a music
okay,
video,
I
yep.
understand. Have you ever done anything in music?
I did some shows as a rapper.
Okay.
I sang with a boy band back in like the late 80s and early 90s, but not in several years.
Okay, well, guess what? We're under 5 minutes. I hope you had fun
Okay.
talking to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so what I want you to do is look at that camera, like Jason pointed out. That's your
Yeah.
camera. Give a
Yeah.
few shouts out to people that are going to see the show. And then
Okay. Well, first, I got to shout out to my kids, to CJ, Anna, Dustin, Salem, and Tony. Got to give them a shout out. My mother, all my family, of course, has got to get that. Some of my comic friends, I appreciate Dave Razor for setting this up, introducing us. Dave Radigan, that I said has been doing a lot of booking for me. I want to give a special shout out. Someone you should bring on as a guest is Ali Del Franco. She's a comic that hosts a lot of shows in Salem.
Okay.
And just recently filmed a pilot for a sitcom called Which City that's going to be airing very soon.
out of Salem.
So yes, yeah.
Perfect. That's going to be that would have been my next point. Anybody that you think might be a good guest
Yeah.
for my show, you got my digits. Give it to
Yeah,
them.
I will definitely
I'm an
do that.
open book. Or,
Absolutely.
when they see the show, they're going to want to be on it.
No, it's a fun time on here, definitely. I'm sure they will.
Yeah, I always have, and I have more than one location. We can always do the show by Zoom. Most people opt to do it by Zoom. I'm glad you came down.
Yeah,
and
it's nice to
can
see the area.
Of course, if you have a pretty girl that wants to do it, I sure hope she does it in person, naturally.
Sure, yeah.
So, obviously. All right, so do you have anything coming up on the horizon that you want to mention real quick before we wrap it up?
I mean, I've always got some shows coming up. I know I've got a few in September and October. I don't know all the dates offhand. I do know definitely doing a show at 8 p.m. at Crosstown in Haverhill
Okay.
on October 21st. Also coming up in October, I'll be doing a murder mystery dinner theater
Okay.
at a place called Hollowed Ground, which is in a gosh, I can't think of the name of the restaurant, but it's their basement area, their bar.
Okay.
It's called Hallowed Ground. We'll be there on October 19th and 26th.
Okay, cool. All right, so that's good. So you're definitely busy into going into
Yes,
fall.
absolutely, yep.
Okay, well, you did a great job, and
Appreciate that.
And that's it. So we're going to wrap the show up now, and you
All
can
right.
snap on. Now, in my eastern location, we have a table which is level. Here we don't. So what I say to
Seats.
every male guest, some of my male guests have banged the table. But I know you won't do that.
I can bang this table
Yeah,
here.
well, right, because he can't upset the CD. All right, so we're gonna wrap up. We're gonna wrap up August at Area 58. We got more great shows coming up in September. So I'll see you guys in September and snapping up and rolling out.
All right, thanks.
There we
There
go.
it is.
Gotta hit that button thrice.